Hello and welcome to this merry video. My name is Giulia and I'm the knitter addict and crochet lover behind a1001 Stitches. As you might have guessed from my accent, I'm Italian, but today we will not talk about pizza or spaghetti. In this video, I will be the voice and the crochet hook, which will take you into a little journey through the world of craftiness and show you how it is possible to transform a string into a flower. Are you ready for the challenge? If you are, this is what you need to have on your table. A crochet hook, doesn't really matter the size, some yarn, better if it's a 4-ply or double knit, but you can use thinner or thicker wool. The only problem with thicker wool, you might end up to have a flower so big that you can use it as a hat. And then to finish off, you will need a pair of scissors and a needle. This is not a crochet masterclass for beginners to any stretch of imagination, but only a funny way to learn the basic crochet stitches and use them to make something that you can keep for yourself or give as a gift. So grab a cup of coffee or tea, some biscuit, sit down and enjoy. The basic stitches that we will learn to do this flower are chain, double crochet and treble, or in Italian catenella, maglia bassa, maglia alta. And just before we start, at the beginning of each row, a double crochet will be replaced by a chain and a treble will be replaced by 3 chains. At the bottom of this page, you can see the pattern that we will be following, but don't worry, but right now we will go through it step by step. If you like to have a pattern to follow, you can now pause this video, take a screenshot of this page and print it. Otherwise, ready to start? And now it's time to start. First of all, I'm left-handed, so for left-handed people, just follow my movement. For right-handed people, just imagine to look into a mirror. To start with, make a knot. So pass the yarn through and pull there. So the hook is in my left hand, the thread in my right, and what we have to do is to keep the hook facing you. You wrap the yarn around the hook and you pull it through. Around the hook and you pull it through. And we do it again. Around the hook and through. Around the hook and through. As you can see here, we start to have a series of little V, which are our basic starting point. And to do the flower, we will need to make 52 chain. So you can see here it's progressing. So we can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now we give it an Italian twist. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we have 20 20 stitches, and you carry on like this until you have 52 stitches. So after your 52 chain, it's time to start a double crochet row. As I say at the beginning, a double crochet stitch will be replaced at the beginning of the row by a chain. So we will do an extra chain, and then if you look at your work, it will be a series of V. So to make it easier for this time, we will insert the hook in the middle of the V, but not the first right under your hook, but the second. So you insert the hook, crochet hook in this V, you wrap the yarn around, you pull it through, you will have 2 loops on your crochet hook, you wrap the yarn again around the hook, and you pull through the 2 loops, and this is the double crochet. So now we go in the next stitch, hook in there, yarn wrap around, pull through, yarn wrap around the hook and through the 2 loops. Next stitch, hook in, yarn around your hook, hook out, yarn around the hook and through the 2 loops. So you can see we start to have a row with 3 double crochet stitches. So in, yarn around, hook through, yarn around and through the 2. Next stitch, you insert the hook, wrap the yarn around the hook, pull the hook through, wrap the yarn around the hook and pull through both. And you need to repeat this movement. You can see here all the V one after the other. You need to repeat this movement for every stitches, every chain that you have done before. And this will be the first row of your project. When you finish your first row, you should have something similar to this, a long series of double crochet stitches. And now we start the second row. The second row is made by a repeat, a treble, 2 chain and a treble. Now the treble at the beginning of a row is replaced by 3 chains, so we need to make 5 chains to start. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now we do the treble. So wrap the yarn around the hook and you insert the hook in the first stitch of your previous row. You wrap the yarn around the hook and you pull it through, so you have 3 loops on your hook. Now you wrap the yarn around the hook and you pull it through only 2 of your loop on the hook. You wrap the yarn around the hook again and you finish off, and this is the first repeat. Now we wrap the yarn around the hook, we skip 2 stitches of the previous row, 1 and 2, and we put the hook under the V of the previous row, yarn around the hook and pull it through the 3 loops on your hook, yarn around the hook, through 2, yarn around the hook, through the other 2. This is a treble. Now we do 2 chains, 1 and 2, and now another treble in the same stitches of the previous one. So yarn around the hook, hook into the stitch, wrap the yarn and out, yarn around the hook, through 2, yarn around the hook, through the other two, and we have second V that is here, and now we repeat again. So a treble, we need to wrap the yarn around the hook, we skip 2 stitches of the previous row, hook under the V, the third V, yarn around the hook, through, yarn around the hook, through 2, yarn around the hook, through the other 2, 2 chains, 1 and 2, yarn around the hook, and in the same stitches as the previous one, yarn around the hook and through, and then we do another treble, and you carry on doing this until the end of the row, and this is our second row of the pattern. Here we are at the end of row number 2, and I hope that you are still following without cramps in your hands. So you should have something similar to this at this point. And now the row number 3 is a repeat of 2 triples, 2 chain and 2 triples, all work inside each V of the row that we just finished. So the treble at the beginning of the row is made by 3 chains, so we need to make 3 chains, 1, 2 and 3. Now we turn the work, so we are going to come back to ourselves and we need to make a treble. So yarn around the hook, in the V, yarn around the hook, out, and now around the hook, through 2 loop, around the hook, through 2 chains, 1 and 2, and 2 triples. So yarn around the hook, in the V, yarn around the hook and out, yarn around the hook, through 2 loop, yarn around the hook, through 2 loop, yarn around the hook, in the V, yarn around the hook and out, yarn around the hook, through 2 loop, yarn around the hook and through 2 loop. So this is the second row repeat. So we do it again. So 2 treble, round, in and out, around, through 2, around, through 2, in, out, through and through, 2 chains, 1 and 2, yarn around the hook for the treble, yarn around the hook, 2, yarn around the hook, and the next 2, yarn around the hook, in, yarn around the hook, through and 2, and this is the repeat of the third row. You will be pleased to know that we have now reached the last row of our pattern. In this row we are going to work 8 triples, all inside the 2 chain of the row before, and a double crochet between the treble of the row before. And since we are going to create shells like on top of each repeat, we are not replace for this row the treble by 3 chains, but we are going to work straight into treble. So yarn around, and here we are 8 all inside the 2 chain of the row before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I said, a double crochet between the treble of the row before. So right in there, yarn out, and then straight through. So this is the first end of the petal, and don't worry if you get a little bit tight when you work, the stitcher will take the space when they are done. So now we repeat, and if you remember the count in Italian, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oops, 6, 7, and the magic finish number 8, 8, and then again a double crochet between the treble, so hook literally between the treble, and then straight through. And this is the second petal, so you have to repeat this until you reach the end of your row. Before to celebrate with a well-deserved tea and cake, we are going to transform the work that you have just done into a flower. To do this, search for the beginning of your work, which will be the one with the tail, and you need a needle to fix the flower when it's done. So thread the thread through it, and then using as a reference the double crochet row, we are going to start wrapping the flower around. So just be careful to keep your flower going around and around once you're doing this. Just be very gentle and it will not go anywhere. And when you're finished, you turn your flower to the back, and you should have like something similar to this. And what we are going to do is just with the needle going through every single repeat of the flower, and then pull it through, and then you do the same at 90 degrees. So you try to pick all the wrapping layers like this, and then weight it through, and then when you turn, what you have is your pretty flower. What you can do with this? Well, you can put a pin at the back and use as a brooch, or you can sew it on a headband, or just keep it as it is to remember what you have done today. Believe it or not, the stitches that you have learned during this video, the chain, the double crochet and the treble, are the same stitches that I'm using to make this doily. So there isn't really anything incredible in crocheting. It's just a question of practice and practice and practice. And if you think that this is thin, I will show you something even thinner. This is the edge of an handkerchief which I'm crocheting, and the hook for making this work is a 0.6 millimeter hook. And to show you how thin it is, this is a penny. So pretty thin, but pretty. Did you like the doily and the handkerchief? Would you like to see some of my other works? Then please come to have a virtual tour of my teeny tiny Etsy shop, a1001stitches, or follow me in Instagram at 1001stitches. If you have made a flower following this video and you are going to share your achievement in Instagram, please tag your pictures with a1001stitches so that I can see what you have done. And now it's time for me to say good luck with your new hobby and goodbye.